Emma was a young woman who loved to travel. She was 28 years old and had short brown hair that was always messy from the wind. She carried an old backpack everywhere she went. Inside that backpack was her camera, her notebook, and her dreams. Emma made money by writing about the places she visited. Her blog was called Wandering Emma, and many people read it every day. They loved her stories about quiet beaches where no tourists went and small mountain villages where old people still told ancient stories. Emma's words made people feel like they were traveling with her. Every morning, Emma would wake up in her tiny flat in London and check her computer. She would smile when she saw messages from readers who said her stories made them want to pack their own bags and see the world. This made Emma feel proud and happy. But on one cold Tuesday morning in February, everything changed. Emma woke up feeling very tired and thirsty. She had been feeling this way for weeks, but she thought it was just stress from work. She decided to visit her doctor. Dr. Williams was a kind man with grey hair and gentle hands. He had been Emma's doctor since she was a little girl. When Emma sat in his office that morning, she could see worry in his eyes. "Emma," Dr. Williams said slowly, "I have your test results." Emma felt her heart start to beat faster. The office was very quiet except for the sound of cars outside on the street. "You have type 1 diabetes," he said in a soft voice. "This means your body cannot make insulin anymore. Insulin is what helps your body use sugar for energy. Without it, you could become very sick." Emma stared at the white walls of the doctor's office. There were pictures of flowers and certificates hanging there, but she could not really see them. Her mind was spinning with questions and fears. "What does this mean for me?" she asked. Dr. Williams explained that Emma would need to inject insulin into her body every day for the rest of her life. She would need to test her blood sugar many times each day. She would need to carry medicine with her everywhere she went. Emma thought about her next big assignment. A travel magazine had asked her to spend 3 months in Thailand and Malaysia. She was supposed to write about wellness retreats in remote places. Some of these places were high in the mountains. Some were in villages where there were no hospitals nearby. "I can't travel anymore. Can I?" Emma whispered. Her voice was so quiet that Dr. Williams had to lean forward to hear her. Dr. Williams shook his head. "That's not true at all, Emma. Many people with diabetes travel all over the world. But you will need to learn new things. You will need to plan more carefully." He told her about the new rules for flying with medicine in 2025. The airports were now much better at helping people with medical needs. People could carry their medicine in their bags on the plane. They could bring extra supplies without problems. But Emma was not listening very well. She felt like the little girl inside her who had always dreamed of seeing every corner of the world was dying. She remembered being 7 years old, looking at pictures of faraway places in her grandmother's old atlas. She had promised herself that she would visit all of those places someday. Emma left the doctor's office feeling confused and scared. She sat in the hospital waiting room, not sure what to do next. The room was full of people, but she felt very alone. Then an older man with kind blue eyes sat down in the chair next to her. His name was George, and he was about 70 years old. He had white hair and wore a comfortable sweater. He noticed that Emma was crying. First time hearing about diabetes, he asked softly. Emma nodded. She could not speak because she was trying not to cry harder. George smiled at her. "I've had it for 30 years, he said. "I've been to 47 countries with my insulin. Each trip taught me something new about being strong." He pulled out his passport from his jacket pocket. It was thick and full of colorful stamps from all over the world. Emma could see stamps from Japan, Brazil, India, and many other places. Your dreams don't have to die today. Love, George said. They just need to learn how to pack differently. Emma looked at George's passport and felt something small and warm start to grow in her chest. Maybe it was hope. Maybe her story was not ending. Maybe it was just beginning in a new way. Emma went home from the hospital and sat at her kitchen table. Her small flat felt different now. Everything looked the same, but she felt like a different person. She made a cup of tea and opened her laptop computer. For the next 2 weeks, Emma did not leave her flat very much. She spent her days reading everything she could find about diabetes, her notebook, which used to be full of travel ideas and story plans, now had pages and pages of medical facts and numbers. She learned that diabetes was not as scary as she first thought. Millions of people around the world lived normal. Happy lives with diabetes. She read about famous people who had diabetes. There were athletes, actors, and even other travel writers who managed their condition while living their dreams. Emma discovered that the airport rules in 2025 were actually much better for people like her. The TSA, which checks people at airports, had new rules that helped people with medical needs. She could put her medicine in her carry-on bag and take it on the plane with her. Her insulin did not count as a liquid that had limits. She just needed to make sure her medicine bottles had proper labels from the pharmacy and carry a letter from her doctor. One evening, when it was raining outside her window, Emma found something that changed everything. She was searching on the internet when she found an online group called Diabetic Travelers. There were hundreds of people in this group, all sharing their stories and helping each other. Emma read story after story that amazed her. James from Manchester had climbed mountains in Nepal, checking his blood sugar at high altitudes. Lucy from Bristol had spent 6 months traveling through South America, testing her blood sugar on crowded buses, small boats, and beautiful beaches. Mark from Liverpool had gone on safari in Africa with his insulin cooler. The people in the group shared practical advice too. Robert from Edinburgh wrote, "The key is to pack twice what you need and keep it in 2 different bags. Never put all your medicine in one place. If you lose one bag, you still have everything you need in the other bag." Sarah from Dublin shared photos of her travel medical kit. She showed how she packed her supplies in a small, organized case. Helen from Birmingham wrote about the best ways to keep insulin cold in hot countries. Emma felt like she had found a family of people who understood her fears and her dreams. These people were not letting diabetes stop them from seeing the world. They were just being more careful and more prepared. 3 days later, Emma's sister Kate came to visit. Kate was 2 years older than Emma and worked as a nurse at a big hospital in London. She had always been the practical one in the family, while Emma was the dreamer. Kate knocked on the door carrying a big medical bag. "I brought you some presents," she said with a smile. Kate opened and the bag on Emma's kitchen table. Inside were all the things Emma would need for traveling with diabetes. There were insulin pens that looked like thick markers. There were small bottles of glucose tablets that would help if her blood sugar got too low. There were testing strips and a special cooler that would keep her medicine cold even in hot weather. "Look at this," Kate said, holding up a small device that looked like a tiny computer. "This blood sugar monitor connects to your phone. You can test your blood sugar and it will save all the information. You can even share it with doctors anywhere in the world if you need help." Emma held the small device in her hands. It felt light and simple to use. Kate showed her how to connect it to her phone and how to read the results. For the first time in weeks, Emma felt something she had almost forgotten. She felt excited. She was still scared about managing diabetes, but she was also learning new things every day. Each piece of new knowledge felt like a small victory, like she was getting stronger. That night, Emma sat at her computer and looked at flights to Bangkok. She had been afraid to look at travel websites since her diagnosis, but now, with her sister's help and all the knowledge she had gained, she felt ready. She clicked on the booking website and chose her dates. As she typed in her information, she realized something important. She was not just packing clothes and cameras for this trip. She was packing hope and knowledge and the support of people who understood her journey. Emma smiled as she confirmed her flight. Her adventure was about to begin. Emma woke up very early on the morning of her flight. She had not slept well because she was nervous and excited at the same time. She had packed and repacked her bags 3 times the night before. Her medical supplies were organized in a special clear bag that Kate had given her. Emma ate a small breakfast and checked her blood sugar. The number was good. She took her insulin and put everything carefully in her carry-on bag. She looked at herself in the mirror and took a deep breath. Today was the day she would find out if she could still be a traveler. The taxi ride to Heathrow Airport felt very long. Emma held her medical bag on her lap and went through her checklist one more time. She had her doctor's letter. She had extra insulin. She had glucose tablets. She had her blood sugar monitor. She had backup supplies in her checked luggage too. When Emma arrived at the airport, she felt her heart beating very fast. There were so many people and so much noise. She had been through this airport many times before. But today felt completely different. Today she was not just Emma the travel writer. Today she was Emma the diabetic traveler. Emma walked slowly toward the security line. Her hands were shaking a little bit. She had practiced this moment in her mind many times. But now it was real. She was carrying medicine and needles and medical devices. What if the security people did not understand? What if they thought she was carrying something dangerous when it was Emma's turn? She approached the security checkpoint. The TSA agent was a middle-aged woman with kind eyes and a friendly smile. Her name tag said Susan. "Good morning," Susan said. "Where are you traveling to today?" "Bangkok," Emma said. Her voice was a little shaky. "I have diabetes supplies with me. I have a letter from my doctor." Susan's smile got even warmer. "No problem at all, dear," she said. "We see this every day. The rules are much better now. Just put your medical bag in a separate bin so we can take a good look at it." Emma put her medical bag in a grey plastic bin. She watched as it went through the X-ray machine. She held her breath, waiting for alarms or questions or problems. But nothing bad happened. The machine beeped normally. Susan looked at the screen and nodded. "All good," she said. "Have a wonderful trip." Emma could not believe how easy it was. All her worry had been for nothing. The new 2025 guidelines really did work. She felt proud and relieved as she put her shoes back on and collected her bags. Emma's flight to Bangkok had a long stop in Dubai. She had 6 hours to wait. So she found a quiet cafe in the airport and ordered a sandwich and tea. She was feeling good about her first success with airport security. While Emma was eating, she heard a man's voice nearby. He sounded upset and worried. She looked up and saw a young father talking to an airline worker. The man had dark hair and was wearing a blue shirt. He looked very stressed. "My daughter's insulin cooler broke," the man was saying. His voice was full of panic. "She's only 8 years old. We're traveling to Australia to see her grandmother who's very sick." "I don't know what to do." Emma could see a little girl sitting in a chair nearby. She had long blonde hair and was hugging a stuffed animal. The little girl looked scared and confused. Emma felt her heart go out to them. She remembered how scared she had felt just a few hours ago. She knew exactly how this father was feeling. Emma stood up and walked over to them. "Excuse me," she said softly. "I couldn't help but hear what happened. I'm diabetic too. I have extra cooling packs if that would help." The father looked at Emma with surprise and hope in his eyes. "Really?" he said. "You would help us. My name is David, and this is my daughter Sophie." Emma opened her medical bag and pulled out a spare insulin cooler and some glucose tablets. "I always pack extra supplies," she said. "That's what other diabetic travelers taught me." David looked like he might cry with relief. "Thank you so much," he said. "I was so scared. Sophie needs her insulin, and I didn't know what we would do." Little Sophie looked up at Emma with big, grateful eyes. "Are you scared of having diabetes?" she asked in a quiet voice. Emma knelt down so she was at Sophie's eye level. "Sometimes," she said honestly, "but I learned something important. Having diabetes doesn't stop us from going places. It just means we're extra prepared for adventures." Sophie smiled for the first time. "Like having a superhero medical kit," Emma laughed. Exactly like that, as Emma boarded her flight to Bangkok. Later that day, she realized something beautiful had happened. Her illness had given her the power to help other people. She was not just a traveler anymore. She was a traveler who could make a difference in the world. Emma had been in Thailand for 2 weeks, and she was happier than she had been in months. She was staying in a small village called Ban Me Kampong, about an hour drive from the busy city of Chiang Mai. The village was nestled high in green mountains, surrounded by tea plantations and thick forests. Emma was writing about a meditation retreat that was held in a simple wooden building overlooking the valley. Every morning, she would wake up early and join the monks for meditation. The air was fresh and cool, and she could hear birds singing in the trees. After meditation, she would eat breakfast with the other visitors and then spend her day writing. Her diabetes management had been going very well. Emma checked her blood sugar 4 times every day, and the numbers were always good. Her insulin was working perfectly, and she felt proud of how well she was taking care of herself. She kept her medicine in a small refrigerator in her guest house room, and she had backup supplies hidden in different places. Emma felt like she had proven to herself that she could travel anywhere in the world with diabetes. She had even helped other travelers who had questions about managing their medicine in hot weather. She was starting to feel like an expert. But on her 15th night in the village, everything changed. Emma woke up in the middle of the night to complete darkness. At first, she thought she was just confused from sleeping. But when she tried to turn on the light next to her bed, nothing happened. The electricity was completely off. Emma felt round in the dark for her phone and used its light to look at her insulin refrigerator. The little machine was silent and warm. She opened it and felt the insulin bottles inside. They were no longer cold. Panic started to rise in Emma's chest like a wave. She looked at her phone and saw that it was 3 o'clock in the morning. The electricity had probably been off for hours. In the tropical heat of Thailand, insulin could go bad very quickly without refrigeration. Emma sat on her bed in the darkness and tried to think clearly. She was in a remote village where very few people spoke English. The nearest hospital was 3 hours away by car. She had enough insulin to last maybe 2 days without refrigeration. But after that, she would be in serious trouble. Emma did not sleep for the rest of the night. She sat by a window, looking out at the dark village, and feeling very alone and scared. When the sun finally came up, she gathered her warm insulin bottles and walked to the village pharmacy. The pharmacy was a small, simple building with concrete walls and a tin roof inside. Shelves were lined with basic medicines and supplies. The pharmacist was an elderly man named Sonchai. He had grey hair and kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Sonchai did not speak much English, But when he saw Emma's worried face and her insulin bottles, he understood that something was wrong. Emma pulled out her phone and opened a translation app. Slowly, she explained her problem. Sanchai's face filled with concern as he read the translation. He nodded seriously and then made several phone calls, speaking rapidly in Thai. Emma could not understand what he was saying, but she could tell he was trying to help her. Within an hour, something amazing started to happen. People from the village began arriving at the pharmacy. A teacher named Millie came carrying a cooler full of ice from the school. A farmer named Peach offered to drive Emma to the city in his truck. The village nurse, a woman named Seopon, brought her laptop computer. Seopon spoke some English, and she helped Emma contact a doctor through video call. The doctor, who was in Bangkok, gave Emma advice about how to keep her insulin safe and what to watch for if it went bad. In my country, Seopon said in careful English, we say that problems are not walls. They are doors to show us how strong we are together. All the villagers created a plan. The village had one generator that they use for emergencies. They would share the generator power to keep Emma's insulin cool. In return, Emma would teach English to the local children and help the village apply for a medical aid program that could bring them better. Healthcare. Emma felt tears in her eyes, but they were not tears of fear anymore. They were tears of gratitude. Her moment of greatest fear had led to her deepest connection with people. She was not just a tourist passing through anymore. She was part of a community that cared for each other. That night, Emma's insulin was safe and cold again. But more importantly, she had learned that kindness and community could overcome any problem. She was not alone in the world. Emma returned to London on a rainy Thursday in October. As her plane touched down at Heathrow Airport, she felt different than when she had left 3 months earlier. She was still the same person, but something deep inside her had changed. She was stronger, more confident, and filled with stories that she could hardly wait to share. Back in her small flat, Emma spread hundreds of photos across her kitchen table. There were pictures of golden temples in Thailand, beautiful beaches in Malaysia, and mountains covered in green forests. But the pictures that made her smile the most were not of places, they were of people. There was a photo of David and little Sophie at the Dubai airport, both smiling and waving goodbye. There was a picture of Sanchai standing in front of his pharmacy, holding up a thumbs-up sign. Emma had dozens of photos of the village children. She had taught English too, their faces bright with laughter and learning. Every photo told a story of kindness and connection. Emma had started a new blog while she was traveling. She called it Healing Miles because it was about how traveling with diabetes had actually healed parts of her heart she did not even know were broken. Her first blog post was simply titled How I Traveled to Thailand with Diabetes and Didn't Die. The response to her blog amazed Emma. Within a week, her post had been shared by thousands of people on social media. Her email inbox filled with messages from diabetics all around the world who had been afraid to travel. Michael from Canada wrote, "Thank you for showing me I can still see the world. I have been diabetic for 5 years and thought my traveling days were over. Your story gave me hope." Muya from Spain sent a message saying, "Your story gave me courage to take my son on his first airplane. He is 12 and has diabetes. We are planning a trip to visit his grandparents in Mexico." Jennifer from Australia wrote, "I cried when I read your blog. I have been too scared to travel since my diagnosis. You showed me that diabetes is not the end of adventure. It is just the beginning of being more prepared." Every day, Emma received more messages. People shared their own stories of fear and hope. Some asked for advice about packing medicine or finding doctors in foreign countries. Others just wanted to say thank you for being brave enough to share her story. Emma decided to do more than just write about her experiences. She contacted diabetes organizations in London and offered to help create travel guides for people with diabetes. She worked with doctors and travel experts to write detailed guides about flying with insulin, finding medical care abroad, and staying healthy while traveling. The guides became very popular. Hospitals and clinics around the world started giving them to newly diagnosed patients. Emma felt proud that her scary experience had turned into something that could help thousands of people. Emma also started planning a new kind of trip. She was going to lead a group of 10 people with diabetes on a photography tour of Ireland. The idea excited her more than any assignment she had ever had. She would be able to share her love of travel and photography while helping other people overcome their fears. One afternoon, Emma's sister Kate came to visit. Kate brought tea and biscuits, just like she always did. They sat in Emma's small kitchen, looking at the photos and blog comments spread across the table. "You know," Kate said, stirring sugar into her tea, "I think that diagnosis was the best thing that ever happened to you." Emma looked at her sister with surprise. "Really?" she asked, even though it was so scary at first. Kate smiled. "You are always a good travel writer," she said. "People enjoy reading your stories about beautiful places. But now you are something more. You are a teacher, a helper, a hope giver. Your diabetes did not limit your dreams. It made them bigger." Emma thought about Kate's words. She realized that her sister was right. Before her diagnosis, Emma had been focused on seeing beautiful places and taking pretty pictures. Now, she was focused on helping people overcome their fears and live their dreams. Emma opened her laptop computer and started typing. She was writing her next blog post, and she already knew the title. "Why I'm Grateful for My Diabetes." It would be her most important story at Daughters, Emma wrote. She thought about all the people she had met and helped. Her condition had taught her that strength is not about being perfect. It is about being prepared, being kind, and being willing to help others on their journey. Outside her window, the rain continued to fall on London. But inside her flat, Emma felt warm and hopeful. She had found her purpose, and it was more beautiful than any sunset she had ever photographed. The end.